Hey, what's up, guys? And welcome to episode 73 of Talk4, the quickfire podcast where we ask 4 great questions to unique and interesting people. Behind the mic today is your host, Louis Skupien. That's me. And let me introduce our incredible guest, who I'm a massive fan of, Neil Brown JR, who's going to be answering a few questions today. Neil, welcome aboard the Talk4 podcast. Please say hi to the fine people listening and just give us a quick rundown of who you are and what you do before I shoot some questions.
Hi to the fine people listening. I'm Neil Brown Jr., an actor. And as of yet, right now, I am Mako 1, formerly Bravo 2 of Paramount Plus's SEAL team.
Amazing. And I mean, this is just incredible because it's a funny story, but there was a time probably a few years ago now when my dad did the usual and he called up the stairs and said, there's something really good on TV, you should come down and sit. And me being me, his recommendations aren't always good, okay? So I was a bit quizzical, but he said, oh, it's kind of like Navy SEALs and stuff. I know you're into that sort of thing. So I thought, okay, right, you know what? I'll give it a go. So come down the stairs. And there it is, episode 1, season 1, just came out, I think. And I was so hooked on it. So, I mean, if someone told me I'd see you on the other end of the screen doing a podcast like a couple of years later, I would have asked them what they're smoking. So this is incredible. I'm so proud and just honored to have you here, man. And can't wait to ask some questions. So if you're good to go, do you want to jump on to question 1?
Sure.
Okay, let's do it then. So let's wind the clocks back a bit then. So how did you actually get into acting in the first place? What or who inspired you and led you up to your first role?
My first role kind of happened. Well, I don't think there are any accidents, but I was a martial artist and a boxer since I was 14. I was training for the AAUs. And I had won a bunch of youth sort of karate championships, and had a pretty good fight record in boxing and Muay Thai. It was kickboxing, but and I got suspended from school for fighting, which was sort of my thing, being a young angry kid, and I was training at the dojo. What would happen was, instead of staying home, my parents would drop me off at the gym early in the morning, and I would stay there and clean and do my homework and do all the stuff that I missed. So I was there training. A young lady named Patty Thomas Robinson came in with this dude, big tall dude, and the old man, my sensei at the time, let him walk inside the dojo, which was odd for me. And then he said, he came to me and whispered in my ear and said, that thing you do, the Van Damme kick you do it over his head, which I thought was a setup. I was getting prepared to get, because if he ever saw you doing that type of stuff, he would appear out of nowhere and kick you out of there or punch you out of there, because it's all for movies. It's not real. And so I looked at the guy. He went and put his hand out to shake my hand. Instead of shaking my hand, I just went airborne. And Van Damme used to have this bullet kick that he would do. He shot it at a different angle. I later found out he shot it at an angle that made him look like he was doing this split in the air. I like 8-foot tall jump. So that's what I did without the camera tricks. Guy was about 6'2", and I was probably at the time, I don't know, 5 feet tall. And they brought me in. The guy turned out to be a producer, and the woman turned out to be a producer of the show called WMAC Masters. And they said, this is the great kid, and they were going to put me in a TV show, but it turns out it wasn't a TV show; it was an audition for a TV show. Okay. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what, none of this stuff was. So they brought me there to Universal Studios in Orlando, and there were every dude I had fought and either won or lost to was there. Every kid around my age that was a martial artist was there, doing all their moves, and some guys were way better than me at some of these fancy kicks, including Scooby. Who, if you remember Never Back Down, he was the capoeira guy who got knocked out in one punch.
Okay.
That guy can do anything that Ryu can do in the video games. So we did our moves, and then they gave us lines to read. And the thing about it is, I pretty much had an eidetic memory at that time. If there's such thing, I just looked at it and I would memorize it. And I did the lines, and they said, "Okay, everybody, They sent everyone home. And they said, they held me back. They said, Neil, go 1 second. And then they said, you got the part. I was like, great. And I didn't know what that meant. But I was like, that's awesome. I got the part. Can I catch a cab home or something? Because I needed to get a ride home. I ended up doing that show, meeting a lot of wonderful people, including Eric Betts, who told me that I should never stop doing this. And then once I got on set, I caught the bug. I thought I was going to go to the military. I watched movies. I loved movies from a young age. All movies, I watched them over and over and over and over again. I'm always good with repetition. And I thought I was going to go to the military, teach martial arts, become a cop with my dog, be a loner, all the stuff I saw in movies. And what I wasn't realized, I was like, oh, I'll do that. And it just turns out that I really wanted to not do all those things. I wanted to pretend to do all those things. And the acting sort of woke that up in me. It was like, oh, this is what I was meant to do. So I've been hooked ever since I was 14 years old.
That's absolutely brilliant. And I mean, yeah, looking at the kind of roles you've had since then, it's been a hell of a journey. And it's funny because, like you say, you always wanted to join the military, but then you got the next best thing. You got to portray it in this incredible show. So tell me about that then. So I obviously best know you for SEAL Team, and I've had a couple of the co-stars on the show already, but just tell us how you came to get cast for the show then, and how challenging was it to find your footing with the character?
I just finished a movie at the time called El Labyrinth with Johnny Depp, about the Biggie and Tupac murders, and I grew a goatee for it because the character I was playing was a real person, and it's the goatee he had. Mm-hmm. And this was the first audition of the 2017 pilot season. I went through pilot season in 2016, tested like 9 times, didn't get anything, but then ended up booking 2 supporting roles in some other shows, Insecure and Dirk Gently. And I did a bunch of movies that year. And then the first pilot audition for the 2017 year was Untitled SEAL Project. Mm-hmm. I auditioned. They were like, normally with military roles, they're always like, you should shave and stuff like that. And when I read it, I was like, oh, this is my dad. Like the character Ray.
Yeah.
I was like, I already know. And no, I'm not shaving. As a matter of fact, I'm going to grow my whole beard out. I'm going to come as dirty as hell, and I did. And Risa Ramon Garcia was casting it. And it was my first audition with her. Second. Excuse me. First was Master of the Second. And she, about a week later, they called. And I didn't know this, but I was up for 2 other pilots that really wanted me. Right. One in particular. They didn't pull the trigger fast enough. And I got the test deal. And it was supposed to be like over the weekend. They get back to us like Monday or Tuesday. But they got back to us later that night and said, my team called and said I booked the role. I was the first one cast on the show. So then I just had to wait around and see like who was going to be Jason and who was going to be Clay and who was going to be Sonny and all those guys. So
wow.
I was very, very fortunate, very thankful. It was my first regular role on television, and been great.
It certainly has. And yeah, you guys, I mean, you all gel so well together. It's so nice to see. Like, there's a really good team vibe there, and the whole sort of family vibe around SEAL Team. It's just fantastic. But so obviously, kind of like training up for the role, then, just out of interest. So, what were like some of your focuses with all the gym work and kind of getting into like a Navy SEAL shape? Was there like a particular focus in mind for like the physique and stuff going into that role?
I up until that point, I probably had 16 weeks of Hollywood boot camp from various movies. 4 weeks on this movie, 6 weeks on this movie. Some of them were harder than others. Battle Los Angeles was a particularly difficult one. But I have been doing military movies since I was a young man. I'm a Marine brat. My dad's a Marine. He was a Vietnam era Marine. All my uncles, everybody's in the military. That's why I thought I was going to West Point. Yeah. And the idea was to join Special Forces Operation Delta afterwards as an officer. and run a team myself. But I'd always been, like I said, been training since I was 4 years old. I've been a fan of bodybuilding my whole life, and you know, movies are sort of what you look like as opposed to how strong you are.
Yeah.
So very accustomed to getting my body in good shape. I try to I sort of adapted at the time when I got cast. I sort of adapted more of a lean, muscular sort of physique, not bulky, but you know, somebody to look like someone who ran a lot, obviously was supremely cardiovascularly fit.
Mm.
I had great, you know, musculature and whatnot, and could move good. I mean, like I said, I boxed about my whole life. You know, I danced, did live action stunts. I was a stunt man for like 3 years. I know how to move. So I was just getting his movement right was the big thing. And that's what like Tyler, I just pretty much adapted like how he would clear a room single-handedly by himself. And I was just sort of like, okay, I'm gonna move that guy. Albeit in this body with a few differences. But yeah, if you got rhythm, you can do it.
Absolutely, yeah. And well, talking about that kind of thing then, because I actually asked this to Tyler, and he had a pretty funny answer. I'm not going to tell you who he said was going to be the winner, but just out of interest then. So all of you guys, very fit people, you know, very quick, you know, the military build. If we put all of you in a paintball arena, free for all, who do you reckon is coming out on top?
All of us together?
Yeah, and yeah, let's say
out of all of us,
the SEAL team. So just the main guys shove you in a paintball arena, give you a few guns, and there's loads of stuff around. I'm wondering, who do you think is either the craftiest or the best and would come out on
Tyler.
top?
Tyler Gray.
Is that
Tyler,
right?
are you kidding me? Have you ever seen that guy? He'll probably say Max or something like that, because Max is a long distance shooter. He's gonna say Max, right? But he's being kind. He's being supremely kind. Max shoots, and Max shoots well. None of them shoot with me. They don't know my ability to shoot anything. They know what it looks like to, you know, I don't put, that's my own private thing, right? So none of them, we haven't really been none of them have been on the range with me. But he'll probably say, because Mac actively is hunting all the time. But Tyler Gray, in a heartbeat, that guy in a room, I've seen him do it. I've seen him just with sim rounds. Are you kidding me? No one has a chance. Max don't have a chance. Dave, nobody has a chance. First of all, Dave is a big target. He's a whole lot of man, you know. Max is more of a target now. He'd be done. Max is great. I mean, like, those dudes are fast. If you want to talk about swift, though, I mean, none of them are gonna catch me. I mean, like, it's not. I love them all, but I mean, I sprint. I'm a sprint. I mean, I'm faster than that, right? But when you talk about shooting, Tyler and Max are I'll give them the best shots of the crew. But I'll be gone before they even take a shot.
Running through the hills.
Where'd he go? What happened? It's like I can jump higher, run faster than all of them. I love them, but no, you're not gonna. No.
I love
I'm the that moves. You know what I'm saying? But Tyler Gray is scary when he enters a room, because he's just gone. He's like white lightning, baby. You know. But the old man, when I fought, the old man would call me grease lightning. So no, they'll never catch me. I'll be gone.
That's so funny. What about Full Metal then? Because obviously he was ex-military as well. Then was he kind of comparable to Tyler in that sense, or was he a bit too huge in that sense?
Ooh, which one? Which, say again?
Full Metal.
Oh, dude, man, let me. Scott Fox was like 280 pounds of a wall. He was just a big wall of muscle. He's a huge target. It is like actually Tyler's a big dude too. But when Tyler's telling you that See, Scott Fox, Full Metal, is like huge. Like how big he is now is nothing compared to how he was. And I've seen the pictures. I'm like, yeah, Scott Fox is amazing, and he's a bad mofo. But Tyler, that boy, he, like I said, man, just the way he shoots and having to learn to shoot differently after being blown up, still supremely fast. I think he's being modest when he says, and he was probably thinking you were talking about the actors more so than his involvement, because we got a lot of special AJ. Now he's not part of the main cast, but we have a lot of SEALs that come on the show, former SEALs, and AJ, one of the brothers who's a SEAL, that dude. And he'll run through everybody. Man, those guys are so crazy. I wouldn't want to be anywhere around, which is why I'd be gone. You won't be able to catch me. You have to send post-nate something that's, you have to send me a text message. Because I'm gone. I'm not in the room, baby.
That's great. Literally running for the hills. That's too good. Man, that's so fun.
I'm tight. I'll be there, you just won't see me.
That's too good, man.
When I did, I've done this, and they don't know I did, but when we were training in this kill house one time in Jordan, a guy of actually my stature was like, you thought he would be the weak link, and we came in and we zeroed down and we were shooting, and it was over, and we were like, cool. Why did this dude drop from the ceiling and pop us all? He was hiding in the corner, like there. He was up on the wall like this, hiding in the corner, just waiting for it all to get done. And then he dropped, like, pop, 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 pop. Nobody thought about it.
That is like brilliant.
That's a Ray Perry movie right
there. That's fantastic. Yeah. Right. So question 3 then. So obviously you've had a big career and stuff, and obviously with SEAL teams, it's a huge series. Like that's a marathon. That's no sprints and stuff. So I mean, you've got so much experience in all this stuff, and obviously I'm sure you've had a great chance to kind of evolve your acting career with these characters that you've played over time as well. So what advice would you give to upcoming actors that you have learned through your experience? Like what kind of things would you advise them going into the industry nowadays, and perhaps something that you would have benefited from knowing earlier in your career about the industry or acting in general?
Well, oftentimes in auditions, oftentimes when you don't get parts that have nothing to do with you, there's so many variables that go into booking a role. It's not just you being great. It's not just you can be perfect for the role and not get it because you're perfect, but I don't like your face, so we didn't cast you. You know what I mean? It's just like, and I don't like your face not because of who you are. It's because when my wife left me 3 years ago, you look just like that guy. And it's just, so I'm not going to cast you. It's so much stuff. So the important thing is to know that it is in fact a marathon, not a sprint. And you have to know when to coast and when to kick. You also know that everything you do in service to your art, everything that you do in and outside of your art is in service to your art. So be careful to stay away from distractions that don't serve your work. Put in all the work into you and your process, and bring your natural thing that you have, because your experiences are unique to you. You are a unique human being. And if you can learn to sort of capture that and place those very real pieces of you inside whatever role you have, you'll get a character that is much more fleshed out, much more believable, much more real, much more relatable, because it is very human, right? And as the time goes on, don't be in a rush to quote unquote make it. Be in a rush to be better. Be in a rush to stay away from distractions, because ultimately you have to be careful not to let your talent get you somewhere that your character can't keep you. So it is very important to know that all the times you got no are in service to you building character, and to not let it defeat you, because if there's no enemy within, no enemy outside can defeat you, right?
Yeah.
So don't don't be be don't be so hard on your well-being. Be hard on yourself in terms of how much work you put into your development, but don't be hard on the being that is you. Like, you owe you more than what you're putting in, giving it your all, because it serves nothing. No man added a day of life unto himself through worry. So don't worry about it. Just, if you're putting in the work will put into you eventually, because it's a game of minutes, and you just got to make it happen when you get those minutes.
Yeah. That's really, really solid advice. But I mean, like, there's acting, and then there's the kind of stuff that you have done and the stuff that I've seen, which, I mean, at times is terrifyingly realistic. So if we talk about kind of like the scenes that are very emotional, like, let's say, the torture scenes and stuff in SEAL Team, what is the process of pulling that off? Because, I mean, watching that, it's so convincing that that's actually happening, and it's terrifying. How do you actually kind of get into that mode and pull that sort of a thing off?
Don't be afraid to be vulnerable and ugly. Most of the time, when we are not able to go to a place and act, and it's because we're being quite vain.
Mm-hmm.
Vanity serves a purpose sometimes. See, this is why I love acting, because there is no right or wrong way to do it. There's a way that feels wrong, there's a way that feels right, but that doesn't make them either or, right? Sure. You have to let go of that thick skin that we build up when we're told no, right? You didn't get the part. You sort of have to build up thick skin to say no, but then you have to shed all of that stuff, so that you can be vulnerable and go to places that you may not feel that your character is supposed to go. And that's the vanity. I'm a SEAL. I don't scream. I don't yell. I don't do this. We're SEALs. We do this. And that's just stupid. It serves nothing. It may serve you in that you get to say that you were perfect, but that isn't reality. And it doesn't lend itself to an honest portrayal of what would happen. You can only be so tough. I asked all the special operators. I'm like, I asked them about that scene, and they was like, "Dude, there's only so tough you can be. You're gonna scream. It's like, you're gonna hurt. Like, you're a human, you know. Unless you're doing a movie where you're Ip Man or you're Schwarzenegger, and you just I just take it because it's all good. It was like, no, that's not happening. No, I just make sure that it's not to be able to be hurt, because I'm going to be strong. It's going to stand there. Look, no, it's not going to happen. You're going to scream like a little.
That was really good.
Or whatever. Yeah, you're going to scream, and you got to know where it's coming from, right? And so, during that scene for Raymond, I found the thing that was going to make him at least look like he was broken. And it was like that something was taken from him that he could never get back. And once I knew that, I said, okay, I have to act from this place of despair. And then I just let it take me wherever it took me. And the writers, Spencer Hudnut, who's our showrunner, the director at the time, because we were going to Ruben Garcia, he and I talked a lot about it. And we sort of like, they just let me play. And some of it's gonna be better than others. Some of it's gonna fit some scenes are some are so real and so visceral. Maybe they were a better shot, but they didn't fit the time frame, or they didn't fit quite right. Something was off about it, even though it was a better performance. You never know. So all you can do is just sort of trust that you put in enough work, and then just let it go on the day, and be vulnerable, and be willing to let the person just drop away, and let the character sort of feel all the stuff that he's supposed to feel, and do all the things that they're supposed to do.
That's really, really sound advice. I think one of the things I'm going to have to ask you for now is I need to hear your best "I'll be back." So come on, give us your best one. Go on.
Well, the way he said it was, remember, it was, "I'll be back." Remember, he said it like that. Like it was so. We make such a big deal about it, right? But it was really, he just sort of leaned in and then, "I'll be back," and then he left. I missed Arnold. God, he was the Oak, man. I love the Oak. But it's crazy the way it's doing. Oh, that's so random. I don't do impressions for people to film it. So you got like the only filmed impression, pseudo impression that I've ever done online, because I typically only do it in private. But I save it for work, so you can say you had to be there. Oh, dude, you had to be there. You had to hear it. It's crazy. I have tons of them, but I don't do them live. So you caught me on that one.
Love it. Very, very honored. But so if we go back into like too good. So if we just touch a little bit back more onto what we were talking about, kind of the emotional side of things, then I'm just really interested about it, because it's so convincing. I love what you were saying there. Really makes sense. But in your mind, do you have to believe that that's happening to you at the moment to be able to act that out? Or is that literally just top class acting?
I think some people do and some people don't. Some people, it serves them. It's pretend, bro. I mean, you're a kid. Like some kids just go, some kids just go all out. Some kids, put a box around it. It's no right or wrong way to do it, as long as you serve the story correctly and you don't take people out of the story. For me, it's very easy to put myself in those situations. First of all, our set designers, everything, the actors, we have such great people, but you have to be prepared to do that stuff if there's nobody in the room. I mean, look at all the Marvel guys. They're in a green screen 90% like these days. Like, and they're still there, like for what it's worth. I mean, they're killing it. I mean, it's like it looks like he's talking to the Hulk. 100%. There's no Hulk there. It's not there. It's nothing. We did a movie, Battle Los Angeles, and we were going against these aliens. There was nothing. They just pretend. So you see it, and then when I personally was doing it, I had to believe that, more so than even fully believing that these guys were going to do what they were going to do to me, more so believing that I was never going to see Naima again. That was the despair. Because he could die, Raymond could die and be fine, because he did it in service to his country. He did it doing what he loved. He did it to protect people who couldn't protect themselves. But to take away Naima's heart destroyed him, sort of broke him. If that was the thing, that was the thing. So believing that he would never see her again, that I would never see her again, and Carissa Fakhri, who plays Naima, does it, makes it very easy.
Sure.
Because she's so good. But believing that was even more important than believing that the drill was about to come down. It was, the pain, believing the pain that was going to come from it was more important than actually, believing that it was going to be done. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, I mean, fascinating. I mean, for someone like me, it's really interesting to kind of hear about the process actors take towards these sorts of scenes, because I mean, it's hard to imagine being able to do that well, but you absolutely nailed it. So credit to you, man. If we talk a little bit more about the sort of like the actor, sorry, not the actor, the character, on his sort of recovery process after that experience. So there's quite a few, I don't even know if you know this or not, but there was quite a few scenes where Ray had like earbuds in and stuff, even out and ops and everything. He was listening to something, kind of meditating and stuff. I was always wondering about this. Do you know what actually, did you have anything going on in those headphones at the time, or was it like a frequency based sort of thing, or was it like nature sounds? If you don't know, what do you think it would have been? I'm just interested, kind of like what the recovery process was then, what the benefit was.
Some immersion therapy. I'm not as well versed on it as the writers on our show, but I got kind of the rundown. I mean, I research it just within my own therapy.
Mm.
For a lot of people who have PTS or PTSD, which Ray had PTS and not PTSD, not the actual syndrome. He not the actual disorder, excuse me. The immersion therapy was him telling the story, saying what happened to him and listening into it over and over again until it didn't have the effect. Accepting it, knowing it happened, and it happened. You know, that means
Wow.
it's not, it happened. It is a thing that has come and gone, and it does not define the rest of you. It's hard, you can't back that train up, you know. You can't unscrew yourself. It has been screwed. And now you have to move beyond it, but knowing that it in fact happened and you can't erase it. We all want to erase things as human beings. It's natural. If you've ever been in a car accident, you desperately want to erase things. You just want to rewind back a second. If I didn't just pull off, if I paid attention to the light, if I had not got here this fast or whatever, you always wish just a split second you could take it back. And that will mentally destroy you if you can only live in that place. Pretending it didn't happen or trying to wish it away. It is much healthier to know that it is a thing that has happened to you, to accept it and move beyond it, knowing that it does not define the rest of who you are. It is just a small piece of your story. And so the immersion, what he's listening to is a small piece of that story told over and over again. And then those things that he fought to live for, as well.
Wow.
That's all part of it.
That's fascinating, because when I was seeing it, I was kind of juggling between sort of, is this like a frequency based thing, or is this like a meditation sort of practice? But fascinating to hear that actually it was that instead. And I'm sure lots of fans will appreciate knowing that too. But on that subject, then, obviously, because he's getting a lot better, but a bit of a cliffhanger at the end of that last season and everything. So everyone's probably wondering what's going to happen next. So where do you kind of see the direction of the show turning now in the future? And what do you think the future holds for Ray Perry? And what could the future hold for the team at this point?
Well, I think he had a clear plan. I think he had a clear plan of what he wanted to do. It was much more clear than it was at the start of the season. And I don't foresee that happening anymore. Not the way that he planned it. I think this show is full of surprises. And those surprises don't stop because people leave the show. Those surprises don't stop because we're on strike. Those surprises don't stop because we change writers. The surprises will keep coming. And I think, but they're very honest and they're very authentic to life in the military, to life as a special operator in the military, right? So all the things that happen in the career of a lot of those people, I think will reflect in the show. People become Navy SEALs, they go off, they have businesses, they become politicians, they open up, things to service other SEALs. Some of them pass away, some of them go out in a blaze of glory, some of them die in, it's just all these things that happen. And I think it was fortunate about our shows that it reflects all of that honesty and all of that truth. I think Raymond put himself on the line, much like the rest of his brothers. And I think he's going to have to pay for that. I think all of them are going to a beautiful person, special operator, once told me when I was on the first season, Daniel Briggs, he said, everything we've done, we will eventually have to pay for. Even if we don't pay for it now, all of it, eventually there will come someone asking for that payment. Something, whatever that is, whatever that has, whatever, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever. Everything you've done, will come at a cost and a price. And I think the show's very good at showing that. And the cost of war is steep. And the cost of constant war is steep. And I think what we'll see on the show is for everything positive that looks like great, that also will come with the cost and to balance. So I think the show, I think Spencer and the whole team of writers over at Something who are fantastic, honest, authentic writers. I think that they will sort of reflect those costs in the coming seasons. I think we'll see more of the costs now of it than we have in prior seasons, if that makes sense.
It does, yeah. And one more little thing I want to ask you, because it's interesting, like I said earlier on, you've had so long to kind of become this character. You've had so many seasons, so much time understanding this person. And the thing is, to be this person, you have to understand this person. So I'm just curious, what do you most dislike about Ray Perry, and what do you like the most about him? So if you had to sort of, because you crack this character open, you know him as the actor better than anyone. Like, if when you see him and the things that he does, what do you think are like his worst sides, and what do you think his best ones? Personally, for me, I've always seemed to see that lying comes very easily to him. What do you think?
They all lie easily. They're spies. Jason has a whole damn head issue. He can't see straight half the time, and he's running late. You think that's cool? Ray tweaked his shoulder. Sonny out here dating his superior. Max not telling them that Jason has a head issue. You get what I'm saying? They're spies. Their job is to get information and not give it all the time. I think what I dislike about Ray is those times where he really should have. There are times that he really should lean on the people around him and not rely on himself in the past. Sort of the taking all of the team's drama onto his shoulders and not expecting it to break him. I think that's hubris. I think that it was arrogant of him. I think he's an extremely selfless individual because he always wanted to run his team. He gave it up so that he could be around Jason and help his brother and make his wife happy. So that he doesn't lose his career. He should have told on Sonny and Davis, because that could really mess him up. But no, kept it to himself. There's been times that he should bring up what's going on with Jason. If you think about it, like, he should bring this stuff up, but he's kind of bottled it up. And I just think that's arrogant and prideful. I think his pride has been his downfall, much like all of them. But like, I think if I dislike anything, it would be the pride that he had to sort of not to seem like he's opening up to people, but not really. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's what I dislike about him, because pride cometh before the fall, right? Pride would have saved him. Checking his pride would have saved him from a lot of drama, from a lot of ugliness. But they all are doing a job that requires so much of them, and it puts a human being in a place where it is just impossible to do without it affecting you. Your body, your mental, physical, spiritual, emotional wellness will just be tested and tried, and you'll think you're fine, but you're not. You're just not. And this is why so many special operators, when they get out, they get into real good therapy, plant therapy, medicine, whatever have you. They're like, oh, they become like these bright new people, and they find themselves again, often because they don't know it cost. It it comes a calling, you know. So I think if anything I like about him, I like his selflessness, um, his ability to be a measured response in the midst of the storm. Um, but his pride has hurt more than it's helped. Um, and I can say that about any of them, you know. But those would be my things, and I purposely put that, you know, in him. I mean, the writers do it all, but I try to apply what I know of my past. The things that I hated about myself, I put in Ray, and the things that I like about myself, I try to put in. Obviously, it's a turned up version, right? Um, but that's how I feel about
That's very interesting. And obviously, like I said, you've had so much time playing this character and kind of cracking open who this person is. Out of interest, how much of Neil is in Ray and how much of Ray is in Neil? Or like, are there any certain aspects of the character that you just found are actually quite similar and they've come very, very easily to you to portray and pull off?
his religion, um, his thoughts on religion, his thoughts on God. Uh, he's a Christian, but if you notice, at any given time, he'll have the Torah, the Quran, or the Holy Bible in his hand. When people catch up on it, and that's because he knows they're all related. He knows they're all related, and he's he likes information, and he wants to know how this person sees us, not just how he sees this person. You know, he wants to know how he wants to learn the perspective of everyone, which is why you kind of understand. I think that's one of the things that I put into him. Um, he's my dad. You know, he's a special operator version of my dad. He kind of does what's required, and is very selfless. My dad's the greatest man I've ever known. I love him so much, and he sort of like attacked the problem, much like Ray does. Ray's a far better person than I am. But if some of those things is my dad's sort of can do attitude, his ability to be selfless, um, how he looks at religion and how it centers him and how he uses it as a tool as well to be the best version of himself around those that he cares about. Those are some of the things that I put into him. They wrote him that way, and I just sort of fortunately happened to be in line with them. So I try to bring some of the natural ways that I would like to respond to things into Ray.
Interesting.
And fortunately, because that's not always the way. I was much angrier than Ray as a kid.
Interesting. Oh, that's really interesting. And so last thing I want to ask you then, I asked this to Mike Wade the other day as well, and he was talking about kind of going towards like the police role routes. But in your future roles now in your career after SEAL team or anything, what would you like to pursue then? Has the military stuff that you've been doing kind of really taken its hold? And I think at the start you kind of mentioned a bit about sort of like the police side of things too. So is that something you might be looking towards, or yeah, kind of what do you think the future holds?
I want to wear a suit.
Okay.
Just a suit. Give me a briefcase. Give me a briefcase and a suit. 3/4. You know what? Give me 3-piece. A 3-piece suit. Give me something with a stethoscope. Love that. Something nice and easy on my shoulders and my neck. No, you know what? I think I'm very fortunate that I've been massively blessed. God has been a constant source of inspiration and talent, and abilities that I haven't tapped yet when it comes to my career. Um, whether it be comedy, whether it be more prestige drama, whether it be the heroism that we get to portray on the SEAL team, whether it be reality based, life experiences that we portray, like on SEAL Team. I have a good wealth of knowledge about a lot of these things and experience in it. Because I've been fortunate to know a lot of people and to be able, this career has taken me many places and taught me so very much. And I'm still just getting started. I got so much more to learn and so much more to offer. Excuse me. I think I'm fortunate that whether I'm playing a doctor in a film or a police officer or a detective or a rebel without a cause, I think any and all of it will be fun. If I get to mix them all up and do something more Axel Foley, more Beverly Hills Cop, and marry sort of the Insecure. Was very fortunate to be able to play so much comedy on that show and learn so much that marry the two and do something action comedy or whatever. I think exactly what's supposed to happen will happen. I think it's important what comes next, whether it be still within SEAL Team or outside of SEAL Team. And I'm just looking forward to doing, like I said, any and all of it. But I really would love to wear a suit, even if I had a gun. I would like it to be hidden in a suit, instead of all of the kit. But I am also thankful for the kit because it looks cool, it's awesome, and it feels like a second skin at this point. So yeah, I'm fortunate to see, or spandex. Who knows? Superhero. But yeah, all the stuff, man. I'm excited about doing, and getting to do some tough stories out there. But I also love to do something lighthearted as well. Give me a 20-minute comedy. I'm like, yeah, baby. Work 3 days a week. How you doing? But yeah, I'm very thankful for the future and what else.
Oh yeah, us too. We can't wait to see all the stuff that's going to be happening in the future. And I can imagine lugging all that kit around and that gun slung over your shoulder for all those seasons must have done some serious damage. But anyway, well,
yeah.
Look, man, this has been the 4 questions done for today. I've loved this. And before we wrap it up, it is time for what I like to call the shameless plug. So, Neil, feel free to take a minute and promote anything that you're working on, you want people to take a look at, on just something you believe in.
Right now we're working on Common, which is an action comedy. We're still in the development stage. With Corey Hardrick and Ryan Lewis and Mike Titus directing. So we're working on that. Obviously, the strike has caused some issues. Getting ready for the next season of SEAL Team. And if people want to check out a great way to help this earth, this world, one of the best ways to do it is to plant a tree. So check out One Tree Planet. They're really good at fighting deforestation and just doing sort of great, amazing things here on this planet. Because you will in fact leave the world better if you leave a tree. So yeah, check those guys out.
Awesome. Great stuff. Neil, thank you so much for joining me today for the Talk4 podcast. Absolute pleasure having you on. And to be honest, I'm just looking at you. I'm still kind of like, okay, pinch me. This is kind of crazy. So thank you for this. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to meet you.
Thank you, brother. It was an absolute pleasure. I appreciate you very much. And yeah, keep doing what you're doing, Brown. I'll let you know if I'm over on that side of the pond, buddy.
Oh yeah, please do. That'd be fantastic. If you ever come over, then I'd love to see you, and I'll definitely show you a good time around the UK, as long as it's not raining too much, which it currently is every day.
I'm used to the rain. I'm from Florida originally, so I'm used to the rain. Although it's not cold, drizzly, wet rain. It's not that cold, dreary rain. It's just constant. But my relatives over there, so I appreciate you, man.
Awesome. Thanks, bro. I appreciate you too. And I appreciate all the people listening as well. This has been episode 73. And if you'd like to listen to our past episodes, go and have a look at our channel. And if you'd like to listen in for the future ones, make sure to hit that subscribe button and spread some love by leaving a like and a comment. Signing off for now.